Hey, welcome back to another video. Just pumping these out. All right, so this post is about a letter I wrote to myself. So I graduated high school in 2010. This was in 2022, near the end of 2022, writing a letter back to 2010 me. And so I congratulate myself on graduating from TAS, from high school. I remember at the time, being excited to leave this small island, to go to the States, to attend West Point, whole new different environment, a lot of optimism and excitement for what was to come. And, I write that, believe it or not, when you get to my age, you'll actually feel a deep yearning to return to Taiwan, at least for a little bit, in order to kind of close the loop on that cycle of the hero's journey, and to share my gifts and what I've learned along my journey with my community here. Another aspect of the 31-year-old Willis that the 18-year-old Willis might not have expected is that right now I don't have a lot of money. And that would have been surprising to me, I'm sure, maybe even a little bit disappointing. It's like when you see those time travel shows, and you meet your future self, and you like, man, I can't believe that's my future self. So my 18-year-old self probably would have thought something went terribly wrong, but this maybe is a pretty common sentiment, and in retrospect, nothing really happens quite like I would have expected as an 18-year-old. Call it intuition or impulsiveness, or maybe it's a little bit of both. But over the next 12 years, from 2010 to 2022, I'm going to go with the flow, follow my heart, and change courses quite often. So I'll end up not doing 4 years at West Point and then 5 in the Army. I'm not going to end up in a stable, long-term, committed relationship yet. I'm not going to make a ton of money, not going to change the world yet, and not be set up and know what I'm going to be doing every step of the way. But, classic, I will learn things that I never would have learned otherwise. And see that everything is actually going according to plan, just a plan that's not necessarily of my own choosing. And slowly, with some insight and foresight or maturity, whatnot, I'll slowly notice all the patterns and the synchronicities and the meaning and the lessons behind every experience, especially the ones that were particularly painful or uncomfortable. And then I talk a little bit about my perception of my role here in my life. And it's a bit like a military officer, a bit like undercover boss. So I paused the video because my mom called. I'll repeat, just my experience here is kind of as a CEO or a military officer, not to say I'm better than anyone, just given the position and the place I am in my life and my personality, it seems that, like a lieutenant, let's say, you go into the trenches a bit and you get a feel for what your troops are doing and how they're doing and whatnot, and what their job is, what their frustrations are, what their challenges are. And of course, this is what politicians do too, right? And it's not like you will be able to get the full picture, of course, because you're just getting a snapshot, a day in their life. But it does help build that awareness, that empathy, for the struggles of others, for the challenges of others. And then it is then my responsibility, given the privileges and the blessings that I have, to do something about it, to help you know the world in some way. I believe that's my mission on earth. To whom much is given, much is required. And that was my letter to myself. I really enjoyed it. I do like to reflect, and I feel like I can learn a lot and understand a lot when I reflect on my life. And so I encourage you all, for those of you who are watching, to maybe spend some time to write a short letter to yourself, to your present, or to your past and your future self. Maybe that'll be my next one. I'll write a letter to my future self, um, and see how that goes. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully.